What's up, gang? In today's video, I would like to talk about I will name it, and I think you can see this name. The name of the video is New Places, New Cases, right? It even speaks for itself. As for example, you have a new place, therefore you have like a new, let's say, 360 surrounding, right? Let's say a new room that was unlocked by you when you came into the room, and due to the fact that you unlocked a new room, you may find in that room some new things that you've never knew could exist, allegorically speaking, or they existed but you never saw them, and now you actually saw it with your own eyes. No, you actually saw with your own eyes how a studio looks like, a homemade studio looks like, but before you've never even knew how low-key it can be. You only thought that there can be only like professional studios and shit like that in your city, but as soon as you visit your friend's place who records music and he has his own homemade studio at home, now you saw that you can be a rapper without having money and going to the official studios. You can do it everything by yourself at your home, at your place, right? So you unlocked a new vision, a new pattern of doing shit, or a new idea, a new vision of doing stuff. So basically, new places turns out into new cases and shit like that, right? First of all, I would like to, let's say, maybe let's start with, as everything from inside out, everything goes from inside out. So let me also start from inside out, right? So for example, as soon as you wake up, as soon as you go out, like leave a place, enter a place, meet a person, greet a person, say bye to a person, or just situation, representation outside and shit like that, you get different thoughts because mind is a part of us, and the same way as our heart goes on, and the same way our mind also goes on and shit like that, receiving stuff, deciphering stuff, making up stuff, also initiating, I mean, like making up stuff, initiating stuff, and giving power for us to some degree. Even for me, in this case, even to say these words, that I'm saying, which Loki gives me power to say such words. But yeah, I mean, like 6 minutes, that's Loki, yeah, so I'm gonna do it quick. Yeah, so basically, like, when you go out, so let's say when you're walking on the streets and shit like that, right? You also get all these thoughts, ideas, and different shit and shit like that. But what I wanted to say with this video, like new cases, new places, and shit like that, new places, new cases, is that when you see something new, you will receive new thoughts from it, due to the fact that you never even, it's like you've never saw this object before, you've never saw, let's say, a double pencil, not specifically with this color, but like in general, you never saw a double pencil, right? So now you see it for the first time, and it's like you've never even thought about it. You never had some type of thoughts, some type of feelings that were going towards this specific case or this specific area, due to the fact that you've never saw it before, right? But now, as soon as you saw it for the first time, now you get some specific type of ideas. Not specific, but like you get some type of new, to some degree, ideas, like, oh, I can now switch. Because, let's say before you always were thinking like, okay, I'm gonna draw it like that, but now maybe you think like, okay, let me hold it like this. Let me hold my pencils like that. So, quickly switch the size and shit like that, so like new places, new stuff that you've never seen before, never experienced before, create new ideas for you to like get and shit like that, so that's, to some degree, it works, I guess, like also in your other areas of life, like everyday life, for example, even when you go outside and you walk this specific way to your school. I think I also have like a little breakdown on this topic, like in some other videos, but I forgot the name. But yeah, let's say you're going out to school and you're always going the same particular way there and then back home, So most of the time you'll see the same thingies, you'll see the same cafe, you'll see the same shops on your way, you'll see the same maybe cars parked next to the buildings, next to the same buildings and the same cars that you most of the time see when you're on your way to school and back home. So the moment you will low-key change your trajectory, your road, your way of going about or going to school, you will maybe to some degree even get new ideas due to the fact that you didn't pattern out this new way as you patterned out the way that you were working on, you know. So it's like the way that you're working on, you already thought about this cafe like in a variety of different ways, like, oh, it would be nice for it to have this, or it would be nice for it to stand here, or it would be nice for it to have better people inside in that cafe who work there and shit like that, you know. So every time you pass that cafe, you were thinking about it, and you had this time a new idea about this cafe, you had this time a new idea about this cafe. But basically the ideas that you were getting were from, like, let's say the same location, you know. So maybe to some degree you would not. Yeah, now we're good. So yeah, so let's say you were always passing this cafe and shit like that, you know. So you were getting ideas. It's like, it's not like you were getting the same ideas, but you were most of the time thinking about the same, let's say, topic, you know. Every time you were passing this cafe, and all the associations that you have with the cafe itself, that's like what's gonna pop up, you know. Like, okay, you can be a manager in the cafe, so maybe I can be a manager in the future. On my, like when your thoughts on your way to school, or like, oh shit, when I'm gonna go back, I will buy a coffee in this cafe and shit like that, you know, and shit like that. And so on and so on. Just the fact that you see this object and you get some type of reflection from the light that you receive, you know. So this light will be this cafe that you pass, and a reflection that will be like different ideas and different feelings that you get from you passing it or from you seeing it and shit like that, you know, and shit like that. Yeah, but like when you're gonna change the road, let's say this time you're not going through the main street with cafes, like cars and shit like that, grocery shows, but you went somewhere like on the in the back doors between the buildings and shit like that. You know, this time now you're walking in some other place. Now you're walking some other place. Now you see some other representations. Now you see some, like, oh, there's a graffiti, a beautiful graffiti drawing that somebody drew and shit like that, that you never seen before. But even like this drawing itself can give you so much inspiration to your own, let's say, studies, that you'll be like, damn, okay, what the fuck. And you will on your way to school, you will now think about your own passions and shit like that, you know, not about like, oh, let me spend money aka cafe, or but now it's like, oh, I can actually do this with my passion. Now with my passion, I don't only have to like post it on Instagram. I can also post it on the street, on the goddamn building, on the building's wall and shit like that, you know. So like now you get new ideas. Not like with the cafe, maybe you would have the same idea of you thinking about your passion, but it would be more like, oh yeah, I have to have a place that I'll have my passion in, and people will come to it as a shop, and they will see my little drawings and shit like that, and I will sell it, I will buy it and shit like that. Just the fact that you were passing the cafe and you just saw the little system of how cafe does its work of like selling what it produces and shit like that, you know. It's like one of the examples how it can be, and you're just passing this little cafe, and you're like, okay, I think that's also that's also how it has to be with my passion and shit like that, you know. But the moment you turned and you decided to go another way, now you saw different representation, and now like it made you more expanded, more broader, right? Now you have more local information, more different representations to, let's say, maybe think about or build, like as a foundation, build from and shit like that, you know. So for, as I said before, now you will not maybe even consider that selling your art in a place, like in a building, in a cafe, is the only way of you getting rich or you getting those paintings sold, you know. Now you're like, okay, I can actually be a street person who will just make pictures on the streets and shit like that, you know, and people will see those things, but they will not know the author behind it, and that mysterious thing will make them to some degree it will make the drawings more popular because nobody knows who's the artist, some no-name artist, but the drawings that he makes is all around the city and every almost building and mall. but nobody knows his name, you know, and this mysterious part makes kind of more, attracts more, like a black hole, you know, mysterious, like nobody knows shit about it. It's black, it's like it's, and maybe that's why it sucks people inside, like, oh shit, it's dark, let me find out what's in that, how you call those, I don't know, closets, not closets, where you hide shit, you know, like let me check this out, you know, I've never seen this, like, it's dark, it's like, it's unknown, it's, the map is still unlocked, you know, let me check it out for me to know what the fuck is that shit is, you know, so maybe that's the mysterious part, darkness, like, attracts light, you know, absorbs light and life, everything, black holes, but yeah. So maybe to some degree about this, like, new places, new cases, maybe to some degree I would actually recommend you to, um, you know, like, how I can also explain is due to the fact that you're doing something new to you. When you're even taking a new road, it's not like, okay, it doesn't sound like you're doing something new, but to some degree you're doing something new, you know? Okay, you may walk the same way, you know, with the same, I don't know, rhythm, with the same timing and shit like that. You may hear the same music that you listen to as on the way that you passed before, but at this point, you're still doing something new that you never done before, you know, like even walking the street and you have to figure out where you have to turn left for you to get on the main street, you know, because you went here right and then you have to go left for you to get on the main street. Even that part is something new to you, you know, because all the time you were just walking straight and you didn't have to think about turning right or left or even following directions where you are going, you know. But at this point, when you turn from your usual patterns, now you have to use your brain, you know, Loki, you have to use your mind for figuring out stuff, and that's like, um and that's like to some degree, you use your mind, and you use your mind in the way that, you're not used to, maybe, you know, not used to, because in this case you're not used to turning left and now you have to think about you turning left, you know, or like figuring out on which left specifically you have to turn. So now to some degree you're using your brain in such a way that you've never used before, like in this case, you know. So this gives more, like, it let's say, um you're using your brain, right? It pushes, like, I don't know, on an evolution scale or something like that. It evolves, but then you start to walk on the same path and shit like that, you know. Now it's not low key, it evolves, but it evolves like a little bit, and maybe the longer you go on that path, the less you will have new ideas, you know. Now you'll pass the same street and you'll be like, okay, now when you pass a cafe, you're not even thinking about cafe, you're thinking about, like, okay, after 5 minutes I'll be home, now let me think about stuff that I'm gonna do at home, you know. But in this case, when you would be on the back streets deciding where to turn right and where to turn left, you are, kind of still making your brain as a, like, on this scale of, moving and shit like that, right? You make your, brain still kind of progress. Your brain still progresses and evolves and moves forward due to the fact that you're using now, that you are using now new surroundings, and you have to put one and two, one and one together, you know. There you already put out the one and one together, like, okay, after this cafe I have to walk 5 minutes more and I'm already at school. But here you don't know how many time you have to walk, you know. So now it's like your brain is still processing, it's still thinking, and it's like, that's just the physical part of it. One sec. But yeah, but due to the fact that you're walking on a new way, yeah, it's not like, only physically you are evolving that in a way, in such a way that you're walking a new street and you see new buildings and you're evolving even in that way. So now you're not walking the same 500 meters, but now you're walking, let's say 600 meters, you know. So it's like physically you're even evolving, but you even evolve on like a mental and emotional state, you know. And now, just the fact that you went to a new surrounding, you see a new stuff around you, you know. and you get as a light inside of you, now you have some type of new reflection due to the fact that some of the lights you've never seen before, like metaphorically, allegorically speaking, for this case, you know. And it's like you're getting new ideas, you're getting new thoughts and shit like that. You're getting new reflections now. All this, some of them may suck you up to do something. Is something is will make you feel some type of way that you never felt before, or think about certain topics that you will enjoy, or and that you never thought before about, you know, and shit like that. So that's how, on a small scale, like every movement low-key can bring you something new, you know. So like new places, new cases, but new places can also be the way you wake up, you know. Let's say you're waking up in this one specific way for 3 years, but now you decided to wake up in a new way, you know. Let's say now you decided to wake up and the first thing that you do is not to drink coffee, but actually to do like a workout and shit like that, you know, warm up. And now you're doing this. Now you're getting this time that you were drinking coffee, now you're doing some new activity, and it's like you have now two different timelines, you know. On this timeline you would drink your coffee, watch a video and shit like that, and maybe have thoughts that you maybe had yesterday when you were drinking coffee and watching video, maybe not the same ones, but not far away, I would say, not far away from that area or something like that, you know, depending on the video too, which video you watch, because that all plays a role. But when you would do a workout, like something completely new to you, I guess it's like two new timelines, and on this new timeline you, like, you're going on the same way, but just you're going on the next floor or something, you know. So now to some degree you may see different things, and now you'll get different ideas, new inspiration and shit like that, you know. So it works like in a variety of different ways. It works even in the way that how you light up your cigarette, you know. So like all these little things, like every time when you're doing something new, it low-key gives you like some new ideas and shit like that, you know. I'm not talking about every because, like, you know, I now I can beat my head, and it's like we are all people. Like, even if you will change the hand that you're lighting up your lighter with, you may get the same ideas as you did when you lighted your cigarette with the right hand and shit like that. But it's like a some degree you planted seeds for a new way of doing and seeing stuff, you know. You have now a new perspective of like, okay, not only I can do this with this hand, but I can also do it with this hand. So for example, when you're gonna be like, your hand will be busy and you'll have a cigarette in your mouth, and you'll be like, oh shit, I cannot light the cigarette, my hand is like busy, my right hand is busy, my hand that I used to light my lighters with is busy, let me try to use my left hand. And it's like, you know, because you already use your left hand, shit like that, you know. So it's like, oh yeah, I think I can also use my left hand for this shit, and it's like that. Now you have new ideas what you can do with your what you can use your left hand for, due to the fact that you've never low-key used it. But it's like for an example, right? So it's like you always used to use your right hand, but now at this point you're like, okay, let me use my left hand, and now you have different ideas of you using your left hand. Now you're like, okay, my main hand is the right hand, let me draw with it, but at the same time I can, like, I know, cook and whip in the kitchen. I can draw and I can whip in the kitchen, or I can draw and I can drink tea at the same time, you know. So it's like now you get new ideas how you can use one and one together, one and two, put one and two together, you know, shit like that. So yeah, so like it's not like I'm recommending, but I would say, I mean, like, I experienced that from my life. That's why I'm low-key maybe pushing towards that. That, for example, sometimes when you go out, not always take the same roads, you know. Let's say you're walking always in the same road home from your bus stop, try to maybe walk one building around, you know, and shit like that. Even like those little things, I think it's like, you know how evolution works. Evolution is like not a thing that goes just like that and you already change from a monkey into a person. It's like a very long time of you evolving. Like now, first of all, at the first stage you lost a tail, then you lost some hair, then you lost some this, then you got like a bigger dick, then you already straightened up, you know. Now you're not like that, like a monkey. Now you're like straight person. Now you're walking on your 2 feet, not on your four. pose and shit like that. So it's like evolution, like it takes time, right? It doesn't happen like that. So the same way as with you maybe going outside, maybe you will get new ideas straight away because it's a new place, new ideas, new place, new ideas, right? But like even you taking one turn left when you usually go straight will to some degree also put some seeds that will germinate with time, you know, like maybe like in 2 weeks you'll be like, okay, let me go extra mile, you know, or like let me turn here, or like maybe even when doing stuff, you'll be doing stuff, but the fact that you planted a seed to the machinery of you not doing everything the way that you usually do, and you decided to turn left this time, this little seed that were put not into you turning left, not in the left itself, but like in you, in the action of you turning left. So you changed some type of routine that you had, and you added some new things to it, right? So you kind of went more expanded and shit like that. And even you planting seeds into the machinery itself, as I said, into the action of you turning left, doing something unusual to, and combining it with something that you used to be doing, it will play out also later in your life. You know, for example, even when you draw, you'll be like, okay, I usually don't do this, but let me maybe color it and shit like that. You know, so now you decide to color it, and now you created some new type of way of how you can even do stuff. You know, now you'll be like, damn, now actually I can use colors to my advantage for me to I don't know, for me to make something is more brighter and something is more darker, or just add tone to it, you know. Because for example, let's say you drew a picture of about villains and shit like that, you know, like a hero and a villain fighting, but due to the fact that everything is gray, the some people may not peep who's the hero and who's the villain, and you were like, okay, let me add some colors for them to get the tone of who is who, you know, and shit like that. But yeah, getting back on the roads and shit like that. So I would recommend for myself just like you taking some other paths. Therefore, you will use your brain more, you know, and you'll get new ideas and shit like that. It's like, for example, when you know, like some people they want to experience some like jumping with the parachute, or doing some crazy extreme sports and shit like that. You know, because they want to get some type of feelings, even like drugs. They are getting some type of feeling that they never had. You know, and it's like with those feelings they low-key get new life, you know, like some of them after jumping from a parachute with a parachute, um, they get super excited about life. They're like, oh bro, like I can do so much stuff in this life, you know, just the fact that they got this like little emotion that they jumped into but they never experienced before, and they're like, bro, it's I actually am able to experience something new, also depending on the tension, the tensity, the how tense the emotion itself is, you know. So for example, it's like hell of adrenaline kick, now a person is not afraid even to jump into the pool with sharks, and you know, and shit like that, because like what the fuck, I was like emotion builds perspectives, you know, and shit like that. If you're depressive, you see everything depressive. If you're happy, you see everything joyful. If you're in this like dopamine crazy state, and after jumping with a parachute and shit like that for the first time, you also get to that level of emotion that you're like, and the thoughts that you get from there is like, sometimes they may seem to be crazy, and the person will be like, what the fuck, he wants to jump into the pool full of sharks, you know. But at that point the person doesn't care, because he's in that state of uh, he's in that place of emotional, let's say, bubble, that has enough of courage, that has enough of motivation, that has enough of passion, that has enough of like self-esteem, or like self-motivation and belief in oneself, that this person sees the jump into the pool full of sharks as nothing, you know. He's like, yeah, I'm ready for it, I'm ready for it. But maybe after like 2 days he'll be like, what the fuck, I was thinking about me jumping into a pool full of sharks, because he already exited that because he already exited that specific emotional bubble which gave him all these ideas of him jumping into the pool full of sharks, you know, and shit like that. Yeah, but what I was saying is that sometimes I would recommend for you to go out and just to experience stuff. You will get new ideas, you will get new thoughts, even like try to do stuff maybe in a different way. For example, like even you, like one of the examples maybe I also brought before, but I'll bring it again, that for example, when you cook pasta, you know, when you cook pasta but you're not following the recipe and you're just like adding stuff as you want, you know, let me add this time, it got a little fucked, but on the next time when I'm gonna cook this pasta, I'll know that I don't have to put too much salt into it, you know, and shit like that. Next time I'll try to add this, and it's like, oh, now I have this and this and kind of tastes good, so why I should not add this next time and shit like that, you know. So you're like playing around and shit like that, you have new ideas, new fact that you do new stuff, you get new ideas, and you're like, okay, let me try this and that and third. Because if you would always do the same pasta, like by one recipe with one recipe, you would not get new ideas of, let me put, maybe you would get, you know, it all depends on the person, but I'm trying to get to the point that you would think about different stuff. You would just like do the same actions over and over again, and you would maybe think about some different stuff, due to the fact that when you're working with the actions that you've never done before, now you're more in the moment, you know. Now you're more in the moment, now you're more in a place that you've never been before, because you're doing these actions for the first time. Now you're more like, okay, maybe I should be careful with my left hand, or should I put my right hand like that, but before you didn't think about how you should put your hand, you know, and just like that, you know. So yeah, so even sometimes, you know, this is like one little thing is how you set your brain to develop, even though you're not actually doing that much and shit like that, you know. So it's like the same with routine. When you wake up the first day, you do a workout. The second day, you don't actually want to do it, you still have to wake up. Third day, fourth day, fifth day, even the first month will be kind of hard for you to wake up and do workouts. But like after the 3 months, it will get so rooted in your routine. It will be such a patterned out routine, such a common routine to you, that you will not even think about making a coffee as soon as you wake up, because you're already used to working out and shit like that, right? So it's like the same way, even like when you, even like a little moment of you, like let's say every time when you're on the street, you decide to take one wrong turn in a good way. Like you were like, yeah, I can go straight, but let me maybe just turn around the corner and just walk there and just get back on the main street. Like even those little things will build out a pattern for you to, which will then be with time accumulated more and more and more. In the future it will be used like for your advantage, or it will be just used, you know. With time, maybe after 3 months, you will always take some new wrong turns for you to be like, yeah, okay, I just want to do a new wrong, you know, like I'm too much used of me going here and there, let me just like do something new and shit like that. Maybe you'll even feel inside your own self that you kind of bored already to do the same shit, and let me just do new one. Due to the fact that you germinated some seeds, you planted some seeds that were accumulating with time and time and time. Even though if it's not visible in the physical matter, it's still there. You know, it's still near to some degree. But yeah, but also the same way goes for you. For example, when you go out, I even tried this few times. You know, when you go out. Well, let's say you went to the park, but you went to the park which is not next to your building, and you know how to go there, but you went somewhere, let's say, into another park, and sometimes you have to second question which kind of way you have to go home and shit like that. You know, maybe in those moments, I would also recommend for you to figure out the way based on, like, you know, just give your own self the opportunity to figure shit out. Like, you know, at this moment you'll be actually, to some degree, in this moment I feel like you'll get more closer to your you than you will be like when your phone searching for your flat and shit like that, you know, than following it and shit like that. Because at this point you are left, like, let's say, in a place, in an unknown place, as I said before, like darkness, and you have to figure out some type of light which will help you to get out from the darkness. And in this case, the darkness is like you being in a new place and not knowing how to get home, and now you are left with your you. It's like you're left in the forest all alone, and it's like nothing can help you, only you yourself can help you, you know. And through this little, like, you know, even there, like a lot of people were back in the days, as I heard, they were like sending their kids into the forest for a night or two, and for them to go back and come back as a man, or like Vikings, Spartans, I'm not sure. The same way, Loki, here, like, you know, you're left with yourself alone, so it's like it's only you in the end. It's like you're in the darkness, nothing is left, only you is left, and the skills that you acquire only left. So now you only have, the only thing that you have to have opportunity to play with is your own self, you know. It's not like you have a GPS that will lead you and you just have to go forward and you forgot about yourself completely. Now you're thinking about, let's say, a girl that is in your class, or you're thinking about homework that you have to do for tomorrow and shit like that. But now at this point, you're actually being closer, you're being more closer to your you than you would be, as I said before, when you would walk on the GPS path and shit like that. Because you're now standing there and you're like, okay, what do I know? What do I know? I know that the sun is now here. I know my building usually at this time, the sun for my building is there. Therefore, my building somewhere has to be like there and shit like that. You know, now you're working with yourself. Now you're like working with your own brain. Now you're using your own brain. The same way is like when you go out in the ways that you never walked on before. You know, to some degree, there the same concept works. The concept of you using your you, or your mind, or you just developing to some degree. You're developing your mind, you're developing your conscious, you're developing your train of thoughts, the way you think. You also do something, you also develop your own self, you know, because you're here working with yourself more than you would work when you're working the GP, when you're walking based on the GPE path, GPS path, GPE. Yeah. And so sometimes I'd maybe recommend, when you're like, you know, stagnated, stuck, maybe as an artist, like a creator, you sometimes may get like a writer's block. So maybe it would be a good idea for you to actually go out and just have a walk, but have a walk in different places, you know, and you'll get new inspirations, who knows, like, and shit like that. You'll get new feelings, you'll get new ideas and shit like that, you know. So yeah, I'm not saying that to some degree internet GPS kills that. It low-key also does, but it all depends on how you use specific tools, you know. Like, are you using ChatGPT to completely fall out and ask everything, not even figure out, like, for example, you have headache and you go straight to ChatGPT asking like what headache leads to or something like that, without even experiencing yourself to figure out what a headache can lead to, because you're not the same person as the guy who sits like in America or something like that. You're completely different people, and maybe in some parts your headache will lead you to the places that you never knew that it can lead, but due to the fact that you went by the case that which was already made, um, you kind of missed on your own case, you know, because you were like, okay, everybody have headaches, I guess I'm also like part of them, but actually you have your own headache with its own tone and shit like that, you know. But you could experience its path and then figure out how you can deal with it, but you decide to jump on ChatGPT and figure out, for ChatGPT to figure out what you actually need and shit like that. But it's like one of the ways how you can use ChatGPT. Of course, you can use it to your advantage, like as me, for example. You know, let's say I want to know something about like dark romanticism in England. You know, and for me not to go on YouTube videos and watch videos of like boring guys telling me what is romanticism, and mostly about years which are not needed and not the works. I can actually go on ChatGPT and it will make my life easier, you know. It does make life easier, but like it will make my life easier in a positive, I would say maybe way. Still, like, you know, it's like, okay, this is like a philosophy now, because like, okay, I went on ChatGPT and it prevented me from experiencing, let's say, opening 20 pages websites and me reading shit through, you know. Maybe there I would gain some more information due to the fact that I would read 12 websites, right? And different websites would be made by different authors, you know. Different authors have different ways of like writing shit. Some authors have different ways of explaining stuff, and due to the fact that I would went on those 12 pages, maybe I would be more aware and expanded than I am and would be when I took the GBT pathway, you know, and shit like that. But yeah, but that's basically it. So yeah, I would recommend you to just like sometimes get out and not use your phone completely, you know, and just figure out the way that you have to get home. The same kind of works with music too, you know. For example, when you listen to a new genre and you walk the same way, you may get new ideas, you know. For example, let's say you're walking the same way to school, but you're listening always to rap, but this one day you decided to listen to techno. Now low-key, even this side that you see, the same side that you always see, so is now even to some degree will be seen to a different perspective or with a different tone due to the fact that now you have different music playing. Now, you know, you don't see people as being kind of angry and like broke because in your headphones all you hear is like, yeah, we are broke, fuck the system, blah blah blah, this and that and third. But you're listening to techno. Now people are more like, I know, superheroes, let's say, you know. Everybody are walking, everybody's individual and shit like that, and you can imagine that shit. But it's like me, that's how I do it. But yeah, I think that's basically it. I would also like fit some parts of evolution, but I guess I will maybe leave it for the next video. But basically, mm, let me maybe do it quick. What I mean by evolution is like you just doing something. Yes, I said before as here, you know, when you do something, you build out a pattern, and based on that pattern, you kind of evolve, and the more kind of play. It's like, okay, the easiest way for me to explain is like, let's say you're playing a game, right? You're playing a game such as GTA 5, Witcher, I don't know, Ghost of Tsushima and shit like that, you know, and some parts on the map are unlocked. They are dark. They're like foggy and shit like that, due to the fact that you've never been there, like even Far Cry. Due to the fact that you've never been there and you've never experienced those places, you know? And the same is with evolution. When you're walking the same place, it will get to that point, to the rotten point, right? That you already experienced and you participated with so many people in this area that was visible to you that there's nothing else to do, right? To some degree, now you have to just go to another village, you have to go to another city for you to get new inspiration, new knowledge, new even like situations, new friendships and shit like that. Because it's like you already went through so much shit at this place that you are familiar with, that there's nothing more to do, you know. So now you have to get to another city, blah blah and shit like that. And that's how low-key evolution works. So like, you know, people get super lazy now. We could evolve, but some degree some people are evolving, some people are just getting back to like the, I cannot think for myself, blah blah blah, I need everybody around me for me to survive and shit like that, you know. But before it was going more, I'm solo dolo, let's all be together, and from together now we're going back to solo dolo, but more in a way that I need everybody for my own self, like in a egoistic way, I guess. But yeah, and the same as with evolution, like you going to some part of the map that was unlocked, you unlock it, now you have different type of people there and shit like that who you can communicate with, different type of things that you see. Now you're like, okay, not only they do swords out of metal, but they also do swords out of wood and shit like that. So now in case you need the sword out of wood, you know where to go and shit like that, you know. And now you go more, you expand more, and now with time the whole map is unlocked, and now your awareness went from one city to being aware of the whole map, you know. So the same evolution works with you too. The same evolution works with, like, as I said before, you're walking on the same way, you take another path, now you unlock some little thingy, now you are more aware, even like the way how you can get home. You're now even more aware that, for example, this little path that I took one day can also lead me home if I'll go like that, you know. But you'll be aware of, like, oh yeah, I know there's a graffiti, so when my friends will come over, I'll be like, oh guys, there's like one place that we can make videos at and shit like that, blah blah. So now you're more aware. So you went from one thingy into like a bigger awareness. Now you're aware of a bigger place, and that doesn't only goes for you going out and shit like that, taking paths, but also with like your routines, with the way you do stuff, you know. Even like also the knowledge can be explained in such a way, you know, that every science started from this, then people were adding their own perspectives into that, and got more expanded. But in the same way as a person, you know, a person does different things, he's more expanded, you know. For example, he does maths and music, now he not only can do math and music, but he can combine those two energies together due to the fact that he's more aware and he got more perspective on how to put together this and that. But for the person who only does math, he only sees math, you know, he only does math and shit like that. He never thought, he never knew that who would be able to mix to mix together music and math and shit like that, YouTube and math, you know, and shit like that. But yeah, but the person who was more aware, he was like, okay, let me try this, that, and that. So that's basically the awareness, and that if you want to get new stuff, try to go to new places, not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally, you know. So you'll get more awareness like that, and evolution is basically that thingy. You get more evolved due to the fact that you created something new. Let's say, like, yeah, you're the first person who decided to mix math and music together, right? So you, to some degree, create a new way of doing shit. So now even the person who does physics will also decide to mix physics with math due to the fact that he saw you doing that, and he's like, okay, let me also do that. So you have now a new wave of scientists mixing their science, this shit that they study, with music, completely different, not a different, completely, but yeah, with a new field, you know. But you were the initiator of that, so like you had the key, you created a key for a room to be open. Now everybody like, oh, let me use that room, let me use that room and shit like that. But you would be the beginner of that shit, you know. So low key you would be the father of that shit. You would be maybe the god of that shit, who knows. But yeah, that's basically how also I see evolution works, you know. So you try something, you understand something, you have it in your awareness, and then later in time you can use it again, you know. But the less physical it is, I guess, the more kind of it can be used. I mean, like, in the way that, for example, okay, you figured out you can have two different colors on both sides, right? So you can switch here and there, switch here and there, but you can only use this for like writing, drawing, and like doing everything on the paper or different type of things. But for example, let's say when we take a switch with your left and right hand, like as a mental thingy, you can put that machinery into more places, you know. Like, okay, not only I can use both sides of the pencil, like the machinery itself, you know, using both sides. Not only I can use both sides of the pencil, not only I can use both sides of myself, aka my left and right hand, not only I can use both sides of the road that I walk on, but I can also use both sides of the ideas that I get. You know, let's say you get some type of idea and you are balancing it out right now, right? So you're using two sides of, like, okay, let me see the darkest and the brightest part of it, and like find the middle point of it, you know. So that's the machinery. So now you're using this little thingy into more areas, you know. But all started from you just deciding, like, okay, let me use two sides of this, you know. And it went so deep into your psyche that now you're using two sides of everything, you know. You know that everything has two sides, blah blah blah. Now when somebody talks, you're balancing it out and shit like that, you know. It goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and shit like that. But that's basically it, what I want to say. New places, new cases, some degree evolution too. Maybe I'll do another video on evolution, like specifically and shit like that. But I guess like it doesn't need that much of attention, because I guess through this topic of new places, new cases, you get the topic of evolution too. Because even like the word itself, new places, new cases, right? So you have new cases to be filled. Like you went to a new place, you created a new case for it to be filled, and now something is being filled and it develops and shit like that. You know, a new ecosystem is being built now. A new place, a new case, another new ecosystem is being built. A new place, a new case, now it's filled, another new ecosystem is being built and shit like that. So low-key evolution, right? You shit evolves, goes on, like new ways of, new places, new cases, already evolution. Now those cases are being fulfilled. From those cases, some shit grows out. Now you create new places from those cases. You create new places, new cases from those cases that you filled, and some shit ecosystems were growing in it, right? And shit like that. Well, yeah, but that's basically it, guys. You know, the camera is always fucked. But yeah, I wish you a good time. Have fun with your own awarenesses and new places and new cases and your own expansion and evolution too. So yeah, have fun, guys. Yeah.